Hello friends, let's answer this question together. Use the graph below to answer question 21 to 23. And this is a graph of y against x. On this very particular graph, we have a quadratic graph as well we have a linear graph. Now let's see question 21. Now question 21 says, which of the following gives the point of intersection of the linear graph and the quadratic graph above? All right, so now to answer this question, the first thing we need the formula, and the formula is x1 comma y1 into x2 comma y2, and this is the formula. But then we need x1 y1, x2 y2, and that we're going to obtain it from the graph. So let's go back to the graph immediately and see how we can obtain those points. Now here is the graph. This is the point, that is the first one, and at this very point x, this is x1, and of course we were going to have what? Y1 at this point. And at this very particular point, we were going to have x2 and y2. Now let's trace out the point. The x1 on this is on x-axis, okay? This is x-axis, and on the x-axis, it actually touches the quadratic graph at what? -1. So it means that my x1 is equal to -1. But then, what is y1? y1 at the point -1 is equal to 0. That is, when y1 is equal to 0, x is equal to -1. So y1 is equal to 0. Now, at this very point, let's go back to that point immediately. The second point, okay? So, at the second point, the x2, this is the point x2, and x2 is equal to 3. And y2, let's check y2. This is the trace, this is where it touches. So if you look at the y-axis very well, it seems like the y-axis is 2 centimeter represent 2 unit. So if 2 centimeter represent 2 unit, it means that 1 centimeter will represent what? 1 unit. Okay, so you see the dotted line is in between 8 and 6. That means the dotted line is at 7. Okay, so we can say our y2 is equal to 7. So we fall back to the formula and substitute and get our answer immediately. So here is it. So in this very formula, you know, our x1, we obtain it as -1. So we place it, comma, our y1 is 0, then bracket open, our x2 is 3, comma, then our y2 is 7. So this is the solution of this very problem. If you check the option there, you find out that option E is the correct option. So we are moving on to question 22. The question 22 says the equation of the line of symmetry is, so we have to go back to the graph and find the equation of the line of symmetry. Okay, so here is the graph. Okay, so if this is a graph, where is the line of symmetry? The line of symmetry is that very point where the graph makes a curve, the sharp curve here. All right, so we have to place our ruler to obtain the line of symmetry. Okay, so this is a sharp curve here, so we make a dotted line up until it touches the x-axis. Now this is the point of our line of symmetry. Okay, so we said x at this point where the line touches the horizontal line, the x is equal to what? So if you look at it very well, it seems it's at the center of 0 and 1, so it can be what? 0.5. So the equation of the line of symmetry is what? Nothing but it will be x equal to 0.5. And if you check your option there, option C is the correct option. So we move on to the next phase of the question. The next phase of the question is saying find the equation of the quadratic graph. So we have to go back to the graph again and obtain the root of the equation. So here is the graph. Let's see. Where is the root of the equation? The root of the equation is where the quadratic graph touches the horizontal line. So this is where it touched, and this is where it also touched. So we said at this very point, my x is equal to -1, and at this side, my x is equal to 2. It simply means that the root of this very graph is -1 and 2. So we have to fall back to the question 23 to obtain the equation of the quadratic graph. If the root we said x is -1 and x is equal to 2. So to get the root of this very equation is very, very simple. What we will do is we have x, open bracket x, close, open another bracket x, and then close the bracket, equated to 0. Okay, so the first root is x equals -1, so we normally have a negative sign there. So because this one is -1, automatically this will become what? Positive. So it will be plus 1. Okay, then in this very bracket we always have negative sign there, so this is positive 2, so this place will become what? 2. Okay, because negative times positive is what? Negative. All right, so we open up this bracket. X times x, we have x squared. Then x times -2, we have 2x. 1 times x, we have positive x. 1 times 2, we have -2 equal 0. So at this very point, we have x squared negative 2x plus x. We're going to give us negative x negative 2 equal 0. So if you check this equation very well, this is already the quadratic equation. This is the quadratic equation that they use in plotting this very particular graph. Now, if you check your options there very well,